Hello, welcome back to my crafty corner. This is Sarah. So I thought I'd come back and do a little, for the second part, we've already went through all of the pretty papers that we're going to be using. And so I thought what I would do is come back in and show you how what we're going to be making with it. I decided that I kind of want to do a folio. I've never made a folio. I've done plenty of books, but never a folio. So, I think I'm just going to try my hand at that. So, I'll show you what I've got so far. So, I already have my chipboard cut down. And so, I have two at 8 1/4 by 6 times 2, okay? And then I have two at 8 1/4 by 5 1/2 times 2. And then I have the little strips here at 8 1/4 by 3 1/4 times 2. So 2 of those. And then just one at 8 1/4 by 1 5/8. So we have these cut down. And then I already have went through and attached my cardstock. And I'm just using that craft. And so I took 2 pieces of the 12 by 12. And I used my 3/4 inch tape and ran down the edge and then just overlapped it and attached it down. And then I cut one down to 6 by 12. And I did the same thing, ran that 3/4 inch tape down and attached it. And so this is gonna be long enough to make our folio, which is too large to fit everything in the camera, but we'll do our best to get what we can. So the way it will lay out, or at least the way that I hope it's gonna work, is gonna be like this. And then we'll have a small one. Then we will have the larger spine. Then the large again, the smaller, and the larger again. And I did mark it here, but I may end up having to move that down. I tried to do 1 inch, but I think I'm gonna have to move it down just a little bit because it should be to where this lays out and the parts where the seams are gonna be will not be right on a bend because we don't want it cracking and breaking on us. So probably I'm gonna have to move it over like so. So instead of doing 1 inch on this side, because I took my ruler and I just marked it out like here so that I can make sure everything's lined up correctly, I'm actually gonna take that one then and I'm just gonna erase it. Now we don't need all this space at the top and we will trim that down, but I think I'm gonna wait until after I get the chipboard on there. And so what I'll do here is I'm just gonna lay this on here. And I think I'm just gonna go in 3/4. Oh, let's try to hold it as straight as I can, and well, and then just trace that out at 3/4. See? As best I can. See, I'm already drawing on my thing. See. Come on, see. I'm just gonna go through and attach these down, and I'm just gonna use my glue instead of pulling out tape and taping everything. To me, it's a little bit faster to just glue it. And I don't care if it goes out and it gets squished out to the edges or not. Actually, that would be better. Okay. Okay. So we're just going to take that one and line it up to that pencil mark as best we can, and then just hold it down. I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna kind of what ditties out. I'm just gonna wipe it away with that. and that will be fine. And then what I'm gonna do is I am gonna take the 1/4 inch tape and I'm gonna run it alongside that, and then snip it. Okay, and then we're gonna attach this one. And I don't know necessarily that you would need that big of a gap, but with this type of cardstock, I feel like for it to bend correctly, it needs to have that much space. Maybe not quite that much, but I'm just gonna butt that right up against that. Because I wonder if that, because I don't know if, did I space it out that way? Let me double check before that gets completely stuck. Yeah, I think it's still gonna be fine, okay. And of course, we can always take our ruler and double check that it is butted up the way it needs to be. Okay. Okay, so we had the smaller, the one at 5 1/2. Of course, everything is gonna be 8 1/4. So the 5 1/2 first, then the 3/4 or 3/4, and then we're gonna do the 6. Take my ruler, that looks good. Oop. If I don't slide it, that's the only thing with glue, is it will move. All right, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go through and finish putting these in. I'm just gonna speed it up until I get all of those attached down, and then we'll be back. All right, so there's the whole thing. Turn it this way. You can see I didn't have, so you might want to leave, instead of cutting that at 6, maybe cut that at 6 1/4, or 6 1/4 would be great if you're going to use the 3/4 inch tape. If you're using 1/2 inch, then you'd have plenty of room if you cut it the same as I did here. So, and I'm talking about the cardstock itself, not the actual chipboard. So the way we have our chipboard laid out, we have on the ends, we have the smaller of the larger pieces, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/4. And then we have our 2 smallest pieces here, little binding ones, which is 8 1/4 by 3 by 3/4. And then we have our larger of the 2 pieces, 8 1/4 by 6. And then we have the next spine that we only have one of, which is 8 1/4 by 1 5/8. So then, with a 1/4 inch spacing in between. So here is how I'm going to make this work. Let's see, actually, I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna lay it on here. And I want it at, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's an inch. So I'm gonna line it up like so, right on the edge of that chipboard. So this way would be 1, 2, 3, 4, which is an inch. And that would be the same as on this end. So I'm just gonna trace that. I didn't even think. I hope that's all in. You can see it. That way then we can make sure that it has the same. All the way down. If I can get it all in. Can't fit it all in there, but that's okay. I think you get where what I mean here. And there we go. All right, so we're gonna cut this entire top piece off. So I'm actually gonna flip this over, and I'm gonna take my bone, or my thing here, and I'm just gonna give all of that a really good press on the back side. Just to, you know. Okay. And then I'm gonna cut that off. So I'm just gonna grab my scissors and I'm gonna try to flip it up this way as best I can, and just go in with my scissors and cut on that line. And if it's not absolutely perfect, that's fine. This part's gonna be hidden, you're not gonna see it. Just more or less something for me to go by. It is long. Now, this is probably the most difficult way to do it with this many pieces. I'm gonna keep that though. I'm not gonna throw that away. Probably the easiest way to have done it would have been to wrap your pieces individually and then wrap your spines and do it that way. But I don't do things the easy way usually. And plus I already had my cardstock stuck together and I was like, yeah, I just committed to that. So, all right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through, and on the one here, the larger side, the inch, I'm just gonna use the 3/4 inch tape, and I'm gonna run it all the way down on the cardstock part. And you probably won't be able to see all of it because it's just, like I said, it's just too big to get in here. So I'm just gonna run through and do that. I got it all taped up, and we're gonna go through and do our corners, miter those off, leaving, you know, 1/8 of an inch or so. So now comes the tricky part of getting this to bend. So I'm just gonna take my little scoring tool and just kind of run down the edges, just to kind of help it, maybe just a little bit. Do that on both sides. Well, on all sides, rather. I think did I already do that side? I can't remember. And that side, okay. And then we're gonna fold these up. So I'm gonna fold this in around to kind of, and squish it, like pressing it up so that it kind of helps it a little bit. And I know I get off camera and you can't really see what I'm doing, but this one's pretty long. Pretty long. Let me flip it this way. A little bit easier for me to see what I'm doing. Okay. All right. And then we're gonna peel that tape and stick it down. So we're gonna peel the big one. Peel the little ones. Idea is that it will go together like that. Okay. And of course, once we get everything in there, that should work out fine. And once we get our pieces of cardstock on these. So what we're gonna need for that, okay, so two at 2 1/4 by 8 and one at 3 1/4 by 8. Okay, put this one up for now. Move these back over here. And I think I'm just gonna put glue on these and stick these down. So I'm just gonna go ahead and rip that off. And I'm gonna do the one in the center first so I don't get it lost. Okay. Okay. All right, so we tried it that way. And let's just do this one. We will try it with the tape. Because I don't know. Let's see. So I'm just going to put tape on the back of these. Okay, so I had just about given up on this because I thought it just wasn't gonna work. But I didn't really measure very well on this. So what I had to do, it's still slightly a little bit, but that's okay. I might should have made this end just a little hair bit bigger. Even with this thinner craft, I kind of wish I hadn't done it with craft now because it's just hard to mold. But so what I did after I got all of it wrapped, I went through and I just really pressed in on those sides to make them as, you know, cut looking as possible, so that I guess a cut looking, like, does that even make sense? You know what I'm talking about? Have like a sharper edge. That's what I'm trying to say there. Yeah, sharper edge. And so it'll fold like this. So, you know, it'll look like a book, but then when you open it, then these will open again. Yeah. And then we will, of course, find some type of closure. And once we get things on the inside, this will hold up better like this and not like want to do all this business. So I'm going to go with it. I had seriously considered just changing my mind and going in a different direction, but I feel like I done worked so hard putting this together. I don't want to, I mean, I wouldn't throw it away. I would just save it for something else, but why not just go ahead and so if you're using a different type of cardstock, it probably would work better. I'm just saying. Yeah. So, all right. So that's what we've got cover-wise. And I think, well, I've got some ideas, but I'm not sure yet, because sometimes I have them and then it ends up changing. So I'm not gonna say anything just yet. This is what I was talking about, the seam. Luckily, it's still on the chipboard. I don't like it being that close to the edge, but it is what it is. So we are gonna leave that like that. So there's our little cover. And now I gotta figure out how and what kind of pages or types of things we're gonna put in here. So I'm gonna call this video done here for now, and we will be back with the goodies going on the inside next. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel, and you click that notification bell. You'll be notified when I do upload videos. And thank you for watching. Bye.